Welcome to the Cross the Line podcast. My name is Carlos Smith, and we are here again for the brunch edition here at the Ice House Comedy Club. Right now, we have a very special guest with us today, another comedian, Miss Amanda Cohen. How are you?
I am well. How are you, Carlos?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for taking the time to sit with us. We've already been having the cameras rolling and talking, but I just been enjoying the conversation already. So we won't hold you too long. We definitely have some questions for you.
I don't think my show's even started yet, so we're good.
Okay. So originally, can you tell us how are you feeling about being here for the brunch special here today?
I have done a few brunch shows. And you never really know, because some people think brunch show means a clean show, and some people think brunch show means there's going to be drag queens, and some people think brunch show means that it's going to be dirty, or you never know. Mm-hmm. So it's a real. Most clubs you can kind of get a feel for it, but we're not sure what we're getting ourselves into.
Right.
But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of the festival.
Absolutely. So have you had a chance to fellowship with any other comedians just yet? Or?
It's funny. We were sitting in the green room. There's 5 of us, and everyone is just staring at their phones. And I kind of looked up and said, "Remember when green rooms used to be social?"
Right.
And then we kind of started chatting a little, and it was fun.
Yeah, just to kind of break that ice, you need a little ice.
Yeah.
I think that's what social media and having cell phones does now. Is everybody just gets addicted to their phones. You just look down, even when you're in a room full of
I'm
people.
actually trying to do a social media cleanse this weekend, meaning under 2 hours of social media time. Mm-hmm. To me, that's nothing.
I don't blame you. I try not to. I use social media mainly just for business purposes. If it wasn't really for that, I would be fine without it. But as a business, having an entrepreneur, having a business, you want to show what you're doing, and also I like to take people through the journey of what we're doing as well.
Yeah.
The ups and downs. So I don't always just show the highlights of going to this place and shooting interviews.
Yeah.
I'll show things where I face rejection, with other opportunities. I share that type of stuff so people can understand. It's all a part of the process in whatever you do.
Well, that's the way the showbiz is now. It's not just the finished product. People want to see how it happened, how you got there.
Exactly.
Everything that led up to it and everything after it. It's not just here's my fun video. It's
exactly
the whole process.
And people need to see that stuff, and that's actually how I became fascinated with entrepreneurship, because this was supposed to be a sports show. And
yeah, you're a long way from sports.
And what happened was I started interviewing local comedians, and if they would, not local comedians, local entrepreneurs in our area. And if they were interested in talking about sports, we would talk about sports towards the back end of the show. But once they started sharing their journey of how they started their business, it's like a light switch.
Yeah.
But I did get my start, covering professional sports when I was in college. So that's how all of this came about. But just hearing those stories of what people went through to get to where they are, I love hearing those type of stories.
Honestly, I'm not a big sports person, but that is the part of sports I like, is hearing their origin stories, as it will. How did this happen? How'd you get here? When did you know you were good at this?
Absolutely.
Which is the exact same things you could ask a comic.
Absolutely, because everybody has to start from somewhere. Mm-hmm. So Amanda, just for the people watching, can you tell everyone where you're from?
Well, it's complicated. I'm originally from Massachusetts.
Okay.
Then I lived in Pittsburgh for 10 years, Chicago for 20 years, and now I'm here.
Okay.
And I did comedy starting all the way in Massachusetts, so I've done it, all the places I've lived.
Was that something that you were always interested in, even growing up, with just comedy?
Far back as I can remember, because my parents played comedy records. They bonded over Lenny Bruce, when they met. So we used to listen to a lot of Lenny Bruce, a lot of Firesign Theater, a lot of weird things that normal humans don't listen to when they're kids. When I was a kid, that's what we had. We had records, and I loved comedy records. I still do to this day. I love comedy on the radio. I love the comedy channels that you can get on. Mm-hmm. But I particularly love live comedy. Just so when I was 6, I couldn't go out and see it. Mm-hmm. I grew up near enough to Boston that when I think about all the comics who came out of Boston, when I was too young to go to Boston, I'm still I missed these great people I could have seen. But I was always a fan. I was always, fascinated by the whole process of it, and the whole idea of standing on stage and having an idea and saying it, and everyone agrees by laughing, or rejects it by laughing, whichever. I think that is
Was
so
there
fun.
any particular comedian?
George Carlin.
George Carlin? Okay.
End of story. George Carlin.
George Carlin was your favorite?
I saw him when I was 13, and then I got to meet him when I was about 20 something. I don't remember, but just always a hero. Always. Comedy changed so much, and from every stage you could learn, and just what I used to do was like write out by hand or type out whatever the comedian was doing, and then see what it looked like on paper to kind of connect what I wanted to write down to how you do it on stage. It's a huge leap between writing it down and doing it on stage, and I learned all that, and I almost want to say I perfected that, but I haven't.
Was there, as far as like your family and friends, was that a discussion you had with them about, pursuing comedy or?
Well, as it happens, it's. My mom still wants me to get a day job, and I'm not making a living on stand-up. Very few of us are. Their parents were self-employed, and their parents were self-employed. I literally come from 4 generations of self-employed people, so having a normal day job was almost never an option.
Right.
So my mom kind of like, well, get a stable job, get something normal, but eventually she just accepted that I'm going to do this and occasionally do freelance jobs so I can survive.
For a moment, was there a time where they wanted you to follow in their footsteps and pursue the?
Oh yeah, when we were kids. Well, my brother ended up working with my dad in the pottery studio, and for like 20 years. And that was when I was out trying to do stand-up, trying to do improv. I did Second City. But when we were tiny kids, we always worked in the studio. We would always invent things that we could make easily and try to sell. And I think he would have loved if we'd both done that. But there was no pressure to join the family business or anything like that.
Is your family, they still over in Massachusetts? Or
My family's still in Massachusetts. They're all retired. My brother is mainly taking care of my dad, and I'm the absentee daughter. I visit when I can, and I feel guilty about it.
Yeah. But you still following your purpose and doing what you love to do. What was that decision for you to finally, move out here to
That decision was after. Well, okay, so I started doing stand-up when I was 17.
Okay.
I did it for a bunch of years. I was, working professionally on the road, and then I quit to study at Second City. I just, in 2015, do both. And then many years later, in 2015, decided to start up again.
Okay.
And then 2 years, and that was in Chicago, and then 2.5 years after that, I decided everything I want to do, writing, acting, commercials, and stand-up is all in LA. So I moved here, and I love it. I love it here. I love all the places in the vicinity I can go to. The only drag is it's a bit more travel if you're going out of state. Whereas, you live in Pittsburgh or Chicago, the 80% of the population is within a day's drive. Out here, you can drive for a day and still be in California. You found that out?
Yeah, so, and just a simple 15-mile drive might take you an hour just because of the...
in Southern California, in LA, it's rough. Well, people ask me, oh, you're in LA. How long does it take you to drive to San Diego? It's like, well, it's 4 hours to get there, 2 hours to get back.
Yeah.
You just get used to it.
What's for you when you put together a show, kind of like, what's like when you're writing and everything, what's your process about how you put together your shows?
I wish I could say there was a process. I'm very lazy. So sometimes I just think of something, put it in my phone, put it in my computer. If I look at it a few days later and it still seems funny, I may try it at a show or a mic. And if I like it, if I get laughs, I'll keep working on it. If it doesn't work, I'll kind of put it away, and then maybe something else will occur to me later. So it's not a linear process.
Would you say these type of shows or what these are like meant for is like kind of like I guess somewhat of a test run where you come in here, you test out some of your material and see what sticks and then what doesn't?
This show feels important to me because it's a festival. People came out to see a festival. They're expecting, polished comics. So I probably won't do anything too new. I want to make sure, I want to do stuff that's going to work. And if it doesn't work, I'll switch to something else. But I kind of have an idea of what I think they might like, and that's what I'm going to do until they tell me otherwise.
How important is it for you, like, we're doing a festival, you know, to captivate the audience early on?
Oh, every show, every single show. You got to get it, like, I don't know how to make it. But if you're not hosting, you really shouldn't be going, how's everybody doing? Because you should have things to say already, and that, you know. But again, your mileage may vary. Comics do it different.
Take us back to, like, your very first show. Do you remember how that was for you?
Oh, yes. I was 17. It was a high school cabaret. And I had actually tried out the previous year to do the cabaret and didn't get in. So I wrote a whole set, you know, based on, like, taking the driver's license test, which is everyone in that age group is doing. And I wrote it out verbatim in a notebook over and over and over, because I'm 17, I can't go to an open mic, there's nowhere I can go to work on this. So that's how I learned it. I would just, literally get a comb and stare into a light, and that would, work and memorize it. And, nobody knew what to expect. It was the 80s, and, the comedy boom was happening, but nobody in that room had probably ever seen a stand-up live, maybe a few parents. So it was very weird. It was very weird, but I got laughs, and I remember thinking, I can do it. It can be done.
Right.
I have the potential to do this, and that's not going back.
I think you, correct me if I'm wrong, you said you had a moment where you took a break from comedy.
Yeah, she was producing, and she asked me if I would host. I'm like, I haven't done stand-up in this many years, and she's like, I don't need stand-up, I need hosting, and you can still do that. And I did it, and I started getting laughs doing that. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a comic, I remember now. And I went back to stand-up, and here we are.
Because I was going to ask, like, how was that? Because, sometimes when people they love something that they're doing, but they take a little break from it, maybe they need to get a job,
well,
pay
that's
the bills.
The thing. I needed to take a break for many reasons. Partly because, like, what I wanted to do and what was funny were very different things, and I got better at kind of translating what I was doing into stand-up comedy that people could actually, like. Because a lot of times I would just get so deep into my personal issues that it wasn't funny anymore. And also just all the years of, experience between being a child comic and being an adult comic, it was, to me, that was the break.
Yeah. A few more questions.
Okay, I'm just a little nervous because I don't know where we are in this show.
Okay, just a few more questions.
Yes.
I know we got to get ready for you to do your show. So what's the biggest difference that you see from comedy when you first started up till now?
When I started, comedy was observational. A lot of it was like, have you ever seen this? Or why does this happen? That kind of thing. It's like, I saw this guy driving like this, and, who drives like that? Why did I? And now it's more autobiographical. You get more internal, not so much external. Kind of everything has been observed.
My final two questions. What goals, wrapping up this year, heading into next year, what are some goals that you have for yourself?
More gigs. It's always more gigs. That is all that is, more gigs.
And then my last okay.
Sorry?
Two more people in front.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then, what advice would you have for someone that's interested in pursuing their dream? They may be afraid to step out there, but what advice would you have?
Almost every town has an open mic. When I was starting it, I used to go to a monthly open mic in the 80s. That's, that was it. And I was lucky to get to it because it wasn't in a bar. When I was 18, I took a class in Pittsburgh just so I could perform at an open mic in a bar because I wasn't allowed to be there. My advice to anyone at any age is find an open mic and do that. And it's usually what happens is your first time, it's awesome. Everybody laughs because of your nervous energy comes out and everyone loves it. And then you're like, I'm a natural, I'm gonna go do it. And then you do it again and it sucks. So the thing is to see if you still like it after it sucks. Right. And if it does, if you still like it,
just keep on
keep
going.
doing it. And a big mistake most people make is assuming they're ready for bigger shows than they are. People will tell you when you're ready for bigger shows. People will come up at an open mic, hey, I'm doing a show, do my show. When you are begging to be on shows you're not ready to be on, that's a weak position. Just get fun. a friend of mine has a great expression. Nobody cares, be funnier. Nobody cares, be funnier.
So they take that to heart and definitely keep that in mind.
Keep doing it, yep.
Absolutely. And my last and final question that I love to ask everyone at the end is, what does self-investment mean to you?
Self-investment means deciding to spend your money on doing shows on the road instead of vacations. Investing your time, which could have been spent on a day job, investing that time in working on your act and getting gigs and all your promotion and all of that. It can absolutely be a full-time job just promoting a comedy career, especially now everyone's supposed to have, 3 TikToks a day and 1 million followers to get booked. Yeah, being funny is not even in the top 10 requirements anymore. It's a big difference.
It's all about that following.
I like to do both. I have, I'm not going to brag, but I have close to 2,000 followers.
Oh, that's still a great following, though.
They want a million. They want 1 million followers.
Yeah, with this social media.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Everything.
Amanda Cohen, 27.
Everything is still possible. But I want to thank you for taking the time to sit here and share your journey. Before we get ahead, can you please tell everyone how to find you?
You can find me at www. That's how old I am. .amandacomedy.com. I'm on the Instagram and the tweets at Amanda Cohen 27. I'm on the TikTok as Amanda Cohen Comedy, and I'm on the Facebooks as Amanda Cohen Comedy. I'm on the YouTubes as Amanda Cohen. Just Google Amanda Cohen Comedy, and you're going to find me. It's kind of hard not to.
All right, there you have it. Amanda, thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Carlos.
Absolutely. My pleasure, and hopefully...
Rock on with your bad self.
Thank you. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this episode of the Cross the Line podcast here in Ice House Comedy Club in Pasadena, California.
Pasadena, California, not L.A., Pasadena. I mean, once you fly from Boston, it's LA, but here, Pasadena.
Yep. And that's what we always say, we in LA, but really this is Pasadena, California.
Yeah, I'm not. You're in LA. When I lived in Chicago, people were like, what part of Chicago? Bolingbrook. I was like, nope, it's not a neighborhood. That's a town.
But
that's okay.
Thank you again for your time. We really appreciate it, and best of luck on the stage today.
Thank you.
Until next time, everyone, keep chasing your dreams. Thank you for listening.
Rock on.